or they try to.
What in God's name is going on in here? What was that ruckus?
What ruckus?
I was just in my office and I heard a ruckus.
Could you describe the ruckus, sir?
You're now listening to Music Impulse with Smilez.
All right, y'all, it's your boy Smilez, and we back for another episode of the Music Impulse, powered by IR Presents. On this episode, we got singer. I saw you did a little bit of modeling. You're a friend of the show, Bree. Shout out to Ansherea in the building. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Doing good on this hot Dallas day.
Oh my gosh. Super hot.
Right, yeah. I was just talking to a friend earlier about how she was talking about. She said, "Yeah, I want to go for a walk, but I don't know when it's gonna get cool down." I was like, probably to like 9-10 o'clock, if that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's 5-6 o'clock and it's still 103 degrees.
It's crazy, man. Like I have not experienced this amount of heat for long periods of time.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, I was even talking to an older guy like a week or two, and he was talking about. He was like, "Yeah," I was like, "I remember. I forgot what high school he said he went to here in Dallas." He was like, "But yeah," I was like, "I remember my senior year of high school. That our schools was the first time they ever had AC in schools." I was like, "Whoa!" He's like, "Our summers weren't as hot as this summer."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Wow."
It's hot. For sure.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we'll just start from the beginning. So yeah, like I said, friend of the show, Bree, my best friend, my bestie since high school. Bree hooked us up. Can you talk about like how did y'all meet? Because I saw she took some photos of you. I saw on your Instagram that she took some photos. I was like, what? Yeah, can you explain to me how y'all meet and all this?
Yeah. So Bree and I go to the same church.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she's a great photographer, and she captures in the moment photos.
Yeah.
And then she'll send them to me later, and I'm like, I wish you were taking pictures. Like she's like a ninja of photography.
Yeah. When I was doing more in studio interviews, she was my main photographer when I was doing like the in studio interviews.
Yeah. She's really good. She's really sweet, and I love Bree. That's my buddy.
Yeah. Shout out to Bree. Be Your Focus Photography.
Yeah,
but yeah, really let's get started. So, how'd you get your start in music? Let's talk about how did Ansherea first find love in music? What was like your earliest memories of music?
Well, I think this is a very familiar story. I started singing in church.
Okay.
My parents, my dad is a bishop. My mom's a preacher.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a preacher's kid, y'all. Which means I'm bad.
PK.
Yep. Yes.
Hey, I got a friend who said the same thing. He was like, I'm not gonna lie. He was like, when it come to me, he was like, when they say about the PK kids, he's like, I will honestly say, I was one of those kids. I was bad. He's like, I'm grown. He was like, I ain't that no more. He's like, I definitely went along with the saying that PK kids are bad. He was like, I was one of those bad kids.
Me too. Put that out there. I was not nice in a lot of areas, but I started singing maybe about 5.
Okay.
But really starting to love it once I started going to the School of the Arts.
Okay.
And vocal music was not my major. Theater was actually my major. And so my favorite genre of music is musical theater.
Okay.
So I really love intermingling those things and telling
The
stories.
acting and singing. Okay. That's
Yes.
dope.
Oh my goodness.
So, what was the one that was super popular? I seen it too. Was it Hamilton? Yeah, like Hamilton and all that.
Yeah. I didn't have an opportunity to be a part of that particular play, but I did do The Wizard of Oz, which I loved it. West Side Story, if you've ever
You
Sound
did
of Music.
those some big ones. Those some big names to throw around, like, especially when it comes to theater.
Yeah, and there were some really, really like fun and educational pieces. And so from learning the basics of acting and cultivating that, then I decided I was going to continue on with vocal music as well.
Okay.
And I had a great vocal music teacher. His name was Andrew Lavasser.
Do you remember like your first musical theater play where you had to incorporate the acting and the singing together?
So we did a play that we wrote, which was I'm from Colorado, so it was about keeping Denver beautiful.
Okay.
So it was about littering and all of that stuff, right? So it was called Clean Getaway.
Clean Getaway.
So we wrote that, and it was a nice production that we were able to take to several different schools and perform that. And so that incorporated a lot of acting and singing. And I think we did that. I think I was in the 6th grade or something. That was my first.
I did see that on your Instagram stuff. You tagged Denver because it was like I think it's Ain't Got Time. You're saying like, yo, which one's going to be the number one city in terms of like streams and stuff. What was it like growing up in the Denver, Colorado area? Because actually that same friend I was telling you about, me and her were talking about trips we want to go on, and we were looking at videos of people going on trips to like Denver, Colorado, and like other areas of Colorado.
Denver itself is Colorado as a whole is very pretty. When I moved here, I had not seen how like in certain cities they don't have like the trash cans. You just put your trash on the street and they pick it up. Like we have like the big cans, that they pick this up. So it's very clean, and they're very athletic in Colorado. There are a lot of things to do. It gets very boring if you were born and raised there because, I feel like most people want to go to Denver because they think it's about skiing and snowboarding and all that stuff. But Denver is the city. It's not the mountains, So I'm a city girl. But it is fun to go up to Keystone, Aspen, Vale, Winter Park, all of those places, the Royal Gorge. You can go to Garden of the Gods, which is really pretty. It shows you like how the red rocks were formed and all that. So it's really nice, like natural museum type stuff. There's like forests and things like that too.
Oh, that's dope.
So it has a lot of touristy places. So if you're adventurous, you like things that are outside, it's really nice. But growing up, we had a place called Ballarat that we all did field trips to in the 5th grade, which took us to the mountains and we had to hike. So
that was dope.
My first experience in the mountains. Yeah,
that sounds dope. That's dope. I was like, yeah, it's like that's making me want to go on a Denver trip, even more.
You sure?
But yeah, definitely gonna have to put that on the dock, and then I'm gonna have to hit you up about all the places I need to hit up before I go, and give you the recap afterwards. So how do we get to Dallas? How do we get from Denver to Dallas?
Well, Colorado was one of the first places to legalize marijuana. And when that happened, everyone started moving there.
Oh.
And so with everyone moving there,
the price
cost of living shot up. So
straight through the
it was
roof.
cheaper to live in Texas. So moved to Texas. It was cheaper. Now it's no longer because
Everybody from California and the West Coast is moving here.
Exactly. Yeah. So now it's kind of evened out. It's an even playing field as far as the cost of living. But that was my initial reason of moving here. And I believe it's easier to be an artist outside of Colorado. I think and this could be anywhere. I think that sometimes when you're born in a place, that place doesn't necessarily cultivate you to bloom. They're kind of just like, oh, you're my competition now. So now we don't want to
promote you. Yeah.
And promote you. Yeah. But I thought that, in Texas, because it's so big, there are a lot more opportunities to do more creative things.
Yeah, that's what I've had to learn because I moved here 2011 myself after college because I lived with Bree when I first moved here for my first couple years or whatever because she's been here since we graduated high school. And at first I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna be here like a year or two, fresh out of college, just get used to being on my own and living life as a quote unquote adult. Then I ended up falling in love with it, getting into podcasting and all that, and 12 years later, still here. And it's like, oh, I actually can see, like, yeah, it's the culture. I love the culture here. I love that I can build something here, that the music scene, it seems to definitely been growing over the last few years. I was like, yeah, and I want to be a part of all that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, I know, like, on Apple Music, you got, like, Ansherea James from your last name until just your first name. Was that a conscious choice, or just, like, that's how, like, Apple Music does, or, like, did you just want to just drop it, or what went into that change?
So I rebranded myself.
Okay.
And with that rebrand, because the music that you heard early on was a part of a gospel label that I have since separated from, and I don't really feel like I was free to be creative. And that's where it kind of gets sticky with being a part of a label. When you're an independent artist, you can create what you want to create, and you're not confined. I mean, you are to a certain extent. If you're submitting to a specific genre, you want to make sure that it sounds like that genre of music. But as far as artistic creativity, I didn't have any of that on that project. So that was, I sang what they wanted me to sing, the way they wanted me to sing it. And when I got out of that, I took a sabbatical, and then I said, I'm going to sing the music that is speaking to me, whether it's from gospel, or if it's inspirational, or if it's about love, or whatever. I want to be free to not be in a box.
Yeah.
And so I dropped the last name because that last name is changing, because I am married to a different last name.
Yeah.
Now.
You're like, I'm not even Ansherea James anymore.
Right. So that all, like, I just
coincides.
Rebranded myself. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Speaking about that, being with a label and having to get out, what did you have, like, fight to get out of the label deal, or it was just like, can you speak about that? Because I don't get a lot of artists who actually had to talk about being in previous label deals and having to be independent on that. Speak about that a little bit.
First, I learned a ton from being a part of that label, and I appreciate the education that I got from that label, good and not good information. As far as contracting goes, if anyone is ever in a position to where a label wants them to be exclusive with them, They need to make sure that they are reading everything and they take it to an attorney to make sure that you're getting the best deal possible. Because if they're only giving you, which most artists don't make a lot of money off of the music sales, they make money off of the shows, right?
Yep, touring and merchandise.
Yeah, but you will get a small residual. But if they're only allowing you a penny per unit that is sold, that's a terrible deal.
Yeah.
Right. So, because of lack of knowledge with that, we signed a 5-year contract with a 1-year option. So once we got to that 5th year, that 1-year option then became difficult to get out of that option.
Okay.
Because it's like I'm opting out of it, but they're opting to stay in it.
Okay. Okay, I didn't know that, because I know, like, with sports teams, it's usually like, if the player wants to, like, nah, I'm not gonna pick up that option, I'm about to be out. Okay, I didn't know that when it comes to, like, the music labels. It's like, no, if we want to option you in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, but this again, I learned a lot because you should always have a manager outside of your label.
Yes, that's the one thing that I know they try to do with a lot of labels. Like, oh yeah, you can use our manager, you can use our lawyer, and you just thinking like, oh yeah, this all makes sense. Just keep it in house with them. It's like, no, you don't really know that. They're not really fighting for you. They're fighting for the label,
right? For their company, for their interests, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even though it might sound amazing, it's probably not the best option for you as the artist, because now you're stuck in a contract with management that may or may not be doing their job to properly support you and to make sure that you have the things that you need. And
the label's taking more of your money at the end of it. It's like, oh yeah, you got to pay the label this percentage, and as your manager, you got to pay me this percentage, and then you got to pay the lawyer this percentage. And just like, it's all going to the same person at the end of the day.
It's really like the music that you heard in 2010. I have 0 rights to it.
Oh wow.
None.
So like, even if we ran the streams up, you ain't getting none of that.
None of it.
Oh wow.
None of it. And they've actually redone the music with, I think, another artist as well. It's a little bit harder, I think, because I have videos out with most of those songs. But I have no rights to that music at all.
Oh wow.
So,
that is wild. That's the music industry, folks. Music industry lesson 101.
So it's just like, just pay attention to what the contract says. If they say they're going to pay for this, 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 that's fine that they're paying for that. But just know that since they paid for that, if you didn't pay them back for that, they own all of it.
Yep, we want to recoup.
Yeah.
Yep.
And make sure you have all your copyrights. Like, you have to have your copyrights. It needs to be registered with like ASCAP BMI, something like that. Before you're submitting your music to anything, before you let anybody hear anything. People be stealing stuff.
Yep, it was like I've heard that with even artists. Oh yeah, like they may have, let the fans know a sneak peek of this, or they released a single, but then all the logistics behind it is like, oh yeah, or like by the time you get the actual official single or the single on the album, you're like, this is a little bit different from what I heard originally, and they're like, oh yeah, because they didn't clear like the sample, or this didn't clear, or whatnot, and this and blah 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 and all that, or the song might not even make the album because, again, like you said, didn't clear certain things and whatnot. Yeah, and then I actually just thought about this. An artist, a rapper, who was it? Dang it, I can't remember what rapper, but it was a Detroit rapper. Me and my friends were talking about, because he just announced that he signed away his masters for $1 million, and we were talking about like, dang, that's low. But we're like, also, because of the level of artist that he like where he currently is at was like maybe he's just kind of like, hey, I know I won't even make $1 million, so it's more worth it for me to take this $1 million up front right now, and sell my masters, and then try to work my music by myself. And I was like, that's also something that artists have to discuss with their camps and research and do all that, because we saw like what Nelly just sold like a percentage of his catalog for like $60 million for a lot of his bigger hits, but we were like, hey, we don't know what kind of deal that may be like for so many years, or maybe he's about to use that upfront money from selling his masters to, maybe buy a sports team or go into a business or something and whatnot. So like that, the whole thing when it comes like the business aspect of the entertainment industry is always interesting.
Yeah, it's super important. I used to be a ghostwriter, and I vowed to myself I'll never ghostwrite again, because you don't, they pay you up front, but you don't get any credit for writing the piece because you're the ghostwriter. You don't exist. So, and then of course you got to sign the non-disclosure agreements and all of that, and like sometimes I see stuff and I'm like that looks like and sounds like something I may have written. But it's just hard being a ghostwriter and seeing things that you have created come to life and you are not able to claim that.
Yeah. Like one of my favorite rappers, Wale, a lot of these hits from rappers and singers, he was like that. Y'all heard he like, I've ghostwritten they stuff, but when I ask for like a feature or just a little support, like to say, hey, about an album, like they don't do that. He was like, this music industry is like is a funny thing. He was like it's definitely songs out here that y'all wouldn't even know that I actually penned that because I'm technically a ghostwriter. He's like, and I can't tell you what those songs are.
Right. Exactly.
So I was like, yeah, even with that whole ghostwriting thing, that's always something, because I know I've heard plenty of rappers say like they've written for like Diddy or written for like Dr. Dre, and it's like either the song ain't never came out, or because Diddy got them as a ghostwriter, we won't know that they wrote that song. But at least Diddy's openly saying that, hey, I don't write rhymes, I write checks.
Right.
So, but yeah, so you went through this period of taking a pause on the music and revamping. So when you decide to like finally like, okay, I'm about to step out and do this all over again.
So during my little sabbatical, I had an epiphany because I was very sick.
Okay.
And I had to learn to read and walk and talk and all those things again.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I had a malignant tumor in my brain, and so I had to have brain surgery.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
That took me like, well, I think that made me more creative, actually. So, and I'm grateful that I went through that so that I could let people know, like, this is not the end for you. Like, you can keep being creative. Like, if I can get through a brain surgery, you can get through this. You can get through that, But it took that, and of course a lot of other things that happened in life for me to say, I'm going to do what I feel now. And I met someone here in Texas, and he became such an influential person in my life. And we became very close friends and best friends, and we started writing one day, and we were just like, oh, let's write a Christmas song.
Okay.
So we wrote a Christmas song called Good to Be Home, which is under Ansherea James. I don't know why it's under Ansherea James, but it is. Then Unveiled was born because we just kept writing. And that's how this project came about, because I decided I needed to be exactly who I am, and I can't be who someone else wants me to be.
Mhm. I like that. I was like, because you're unveiling, who you really are, like all the way around, not just this one-dimensional, like you said, gospel artist. Like, no, if I want to sing some R&B, if I want to sing, whatever this type of genre, like, hey, maybe I want to incorporate a little bit of pop or whatever, like, or like you said, the Christmas songs and whatnot. It's like, hey, I'm not just this one-dimensional person. I can be more than just that, or what y'all have known me to be.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that. We got the album unveiled, coming about. We had a bunch of singles. Talk to me about the single "Just Breathe."
Okay, so "Just Breathe" is a very sexy song, and it's a love song. And it came about because I heard a track that he was playing,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Oh, what's that?" And he was like, "Because it was just a bunch of breathing
Oh,
on the
hey.
track." I was like, "Oh, it's just breathe."
Yeah.
And then I said, "I like that," and I was like, "We need to write that." And then I started thinking about the type of love that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And what I imagined for my partner. And that is how "Just Breathe" came about. So it's a very loving song.
Okay. What about the single "Slow Jam"? That was another one I was telling you that I liked.
Yeah, so "Slow Jam" is also a sexy song, but with instruments, right? So we're talking about the woodwinds, we're talking about brass, we're talking about big bands, we're talking about saxophones, we're talking about all of this stuff because music is whatever you need it to be,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it was kind of like an innuendo, using instruments versus talking about body parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, plus me, because I played flute and trombone when I was in middle school and high school, so I was like, okay.
Yeah. You ready? Turn the music up just a little bit. Right there. Yeah. Let's go. Smooth jazz, strings and brass. A little hot hat, bring it in, slow down, that's a little too fast. Pump up the treble and bass line too. Too hot on the high, school down just right now, we're good. Slow jam, you're my favorite. Slow jam, slow jam, slow jam. Beat up the drum, guitar strums. 4/4 is the time, metronome queued up, keep it there, don't move, it's fine. Here comes the cello, sliding through. Real nice on the change mic stand, coming up, Ray Bug on the ones and two. Slow jam, you're my favorite. Slow jam. Soprano, saxophone, trombone and tuba too. Here comes the melodic flute, oh how I love it too. The woodwind blows my mind, big band it sounds divine. Can't wait to groove with you, slide back and kick off my shoes. Slow jam, you're my favorite. Slow jam. You like playing with my slow jam? Mm-hmm. Slow jam, you're my favorite. Slow jam.
I'm glad you like that song because that one has not been released yet. That one's just on the pre-sale release for Unveiled. So you are probably one of the only people who has heard that song.
Yeah, because I was like, it really was just the title. I was like, slow jam. I was like, I gotta hear it if this is called slow jam.
Yeah. So, and then you also notice, like, with that song, I don't know if you paid attention to anything that I was saying, not necessarily singing. The producer, like I said, can you turn it up? Because he turned it down on purpose, and then he turned it up when I said turn it up.
Okay, I didn't.
Yeah, so if you go back and you listen to it, you'll hear that it's lower in the beginning because, and I get kind of emotional talking about it because he passed away in February.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
But we had a lot of fun making this album. So some of the music that is on the album was very raw and not necessarily industry mixed and mastered, but it was mixed and mastered. But I wanted to put it out anyway because that is what we talked about, and that was the promise that I made, is that we were still going to get our music out, unbothered. So
I love that. I love that. I guess if you're comfortable enough, I guess speak about having to work through this process as also like having to continue to record and whatnot, knowing that someone that worked on your album passed away. How's that been for you?
It was actually really difficult the first month because the first show that I did was South by Southwest after he passed away, and that was very difficult. But I had a great support system with me. My new husband was with me, and the band that was there that was playing, I think they did the music justice in their recreation of it for the show. And they were very supportive. I mean, I probably broke down about 5 or 6 times, like before the show started during sound check. Like, it was just really hard because that was the first show that I did without him.
Okay. Yeah, okay, I definitely understand that. Also, speaking about support system, again, from doing my Googles and my Instagram deep dive, I saw that you're a boy mom.
Yeah, I have sons and daughters.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was like, I know I saw at least a couple sons. So I was gonna ask you, what's it like having balance like life between being a parent and work, and then also putting in that time in the studio and all that. What's that like for you?
So the good thing now is that the majority of them are older now, so they can make their own food and they can put themselves to bed. But before, like in 2010, it was a little harder because they were younger and they expected mommy to be there, and trying to find that balance is very difficult. And so I think a lot of times with artists who have children, we put our families first, and that's great. We put our families first, but then we forget that we also have dreams and goals, and sometimes we never make it back to those dreams and goals. And sometimes we get discouraged based off of what people say, like, oh, you have kids, like you're not gonna be able to do this because you can't tour with them, you can't take this much time away from them, and then we're just like, well, I guess
they're right. Yeah, oh, they're right, let me just yeah.
So but my children have always pushed me. They're like my baby son, who just graduated from high school, he asked me about 6 months ago. He was like, Mom, when are you gonna start singing again? Like, like in church and stuff like that. Because I hadn't been doing that. And I was like, I don't know. He said, I really miss hearing you sing. So that was like a really, and my other kids, my daughter, they all push me. So they're all very supportive.
That's wonderful.
Of me singing, which is you don't get that all the time.
Yeah, that's dope. That's wonderful. I was like, no, mom, like, I love your singing. Like, I want you to do it more. I like that. That's super dope. That's super dope, especially when you can have your kids like no, like, mom, I want to. Because I'm not a parent, but I was like, I know, like, for me, it'd probably be like, I don't care what nobody else say. Like, if my kids want me to do it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's super dope. That's super dope. So oh yeah, also wanted to talk to you about the current single you got. Speak about "Ain't Got Time." Let's talk about how this song came to be and break down what this song is for folks.
Man, okay, so "Ain't Got Time" is probably my favorite song on the album, and I probably should have put that one out first, but I'm glad it came out at the time that it did. I released it on my dad's birthday, so he was pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I did see you post that.
So this song, I wrote it. I had COVID bad, like I was in the hospital, and I wrote it while I was sick.
Oh wow,
And then
you never been through some struggles and some fights.
I wrote it while I was sick. I was like, okay, that sounds good. That sounds good, because Ray was always sending me tracks. My brother was always sending me tracks and stuff that he was working on, and so he sent that track to me, and I was like, that's a dope track. I don't know what I would sing to that. And then I remember my grandmother telling me to keep the faith. So if you listen to the lyrics, you know, it talks about keeping the faith, like, you know, we don't have time, right? Why not live today? We're breathing today, you know.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Neezy here. I wanted to make sure that y'all go and get your Naturally Nay Instant Moisture Duo. That's right, you know this Instant Moisture Duo can be used on braids, locks, twists, beards, and all of your natural hair. The moisturizer is all natural ingredients. One of our key ingredients, aloe vera. You know aloe vera is really great for your scalp. And our oil blend is a mixture of the best oils that you can use to promote hair growth and give your hair a good shine and overall just a natural glow. So you're getting two amazing products. Make sure you go to inaudibleruckus.com/naturallynay. And also you can follow us on Instagram at naturally_nay, NAEE.
The beginning and no end, and middle ground till spin. We're moving. Trust in the universe, you say. Don't you let nothing stand in the way. We're winning. Ain't got time for yesterday. We're steady keeping the faith. Tomorrow is not promised. Why not live today? We're breathing. Crisscross and mismatched shoes. Wrong path, now what to do? We're cruising. Lampshade against moonlight, offset the dark from night. We're gleaming. Ain't got time for yesterday. We're steady keeping the faith. Tomorrow is not promised. Why not live today? We're breathing. Prude clicks and passers by. Can't dream life beyond the sky.
Because that was the first song I heard, because that was what Bree sent me, and I was like,
Yeah.
I really like this. That's what I was like, okay, yeah, I want to do this interview with her. I was like, because this song, I was like, I like this song.
Yeah, that's my favorite song, and I think because it has like that old timey kind of feel to it too, because you hear that like crackling of the
like the record. Yeah.
You hear that crackling on there, and then so I decided I was going to talk about just different situations that we might be in, like if we're we don't know which way to go, we're dealing with people who are scheming on us, like, but they're really losing because we're moving, like we're still going and we're still reaching higher heights and we're still being elevated and we're not stopping because we don't have time to worry about what anybody else is talking about. We're still gonna keep pressing toward the mark. Wherever God wants us to go, that's where we're gonna go, and you can't stop me from getting there. And so that song spoke a lot to me, and it was just amazing how the lyrics were just coming. They were just coming. Like, I think I wrote the song in maybe like 10 minutes.
Oh wow, that's great. Yeah, because like I said, that the song hit me especially more because like right now, like me being unemployed and not really knowing when I'm finally gonna get a job, but then it's like I also have these other passions I really want to dive into. It's like, yeah, I've been able to get into the podcast more and be more consistent with the podcast. I've been starting to be more creative with trying to come up with ideas for it. I'm also in a fraternity, shout out to the Alphas. And, so like I've been able to, be more involved with my fraternity than I've been able to, because, work and things like that. Been able to get rest because all my friends and family know, like for years, I've worked 2, 3, 4 jobs at a time. So this is the first time I'm like, oh, I don't have like nothing to do. Like I can actually sleep in. I can actually have time to work out and all that. And that was another reason why the song also hit home for me.
I'm glad it gave you some positivity and some, motivation.
Yeah, definitely
to be creative and to just be in the moment. And I think sometimes we get too far ahead in our thoughts and we worry too much about what's going to happen tomorrow. Like we can't control what happens tomorrow, but we can live in this moment. Right? We can live in this moment. We can't worry about the things that happened yesterday. There isn't anything that we can do about it because it happened yesterday. So learn from those things that happened yesterday and make better decisions or different decisions for now, and then let tomorrow worry for itself.
Yep, exactly. Definitely. So to kind of wrap it up, I like to, do a little fun questions towards the end of the podcast. So being that, it's 100+ degree weather here in Texas, I want to ask you, what are some songs that remind you of summer for you?
Summertime.
Hey. Shout out to Will Smith.
Yeah, we were singing that earlier today at work, and man, the nurses in my nurses station are crazy. They're all nuts. That song and what's another song? It's probably not even a real song, but I think they've played it on TikTok. That do you want to go to hell? Hell no song.
I haven't heard it. No.
Wish I could pull it up for you, but it's funny.
Oh,
it reminds me of summer.
Hey, yeah, TikTok. Yeah, you can go on a deep dive on TikTok. You were like, I just logged on here real quick. An hour later.
Correct.
Yeah, like I was on TikTok the other day, and we saw it was showcasing some dogs in a doggy daycare or whatever, but it was just hilarious just going through all the videos that the doggy daycare had posted of like the different dogs and all this. They were like, this is this dog. They like to do this. This is this dog. He looks like a president. This is this dog. She likes to sit on his butt. This is this dog. And I just was like going through all the. I was like, I just went through like all these little videos this doggy daycare has posted. I was like, this is hilarious. So next one, if you could do a collaboration with let's go with any three singers, dead or alive, who would you want to do it with?
Ooh. Dorothy Dandridge.
Okay.
She's like one of my favorites. Let's see. probably would be Alanis Morissette.
Mm-hmm.
And my third one, Maxwell.
Okay. Fire. Okay, I love that. Great choices. I actually just listened to Maxwell's first album a few months ago for the very first time. I had never heard, because I interviewed a DJ. Shout out to DJ Soul, and we were talking about different albums that inspired her, and she named Maxwell's first album as one of them that's like made the most impact on her life, and so I ended up listening to that for the very first time. But let's see. Last question I'm gonna go with. Let's go with what artist or artists would you say have made the most impact on your style or your career?
Chrisette Michelle.
I love me some Chrisette Michelle. I saw her in like college perform in Cincinnati, and I've been a fan ever since.
She's dope. And then I would have to probably say, I'm not gonna say that. That would be weird.
Oh, see, now I gotta know now.
Okay, but it doesn't count. It doesn't count.
Okay.
Judy Garland.
Oh, see, nothing wrong with Judy Garland.
Yeah. And then I would probably say, how many did you ask me for?
Oh, you can name one more if you want.
Oh.
Since the second one didn't count. The second one didn't count.
The second one did not count. No,
yeah.
It didn't count. I would probably say Erykah Badu, probably.
Okay. Shout out to the Queen, Erykah Badu.
Yeah, she was just here.
Yeah, I'm mad. I wasn't able to go to that, but I was like, once we're in a better financial situation, we definitely got to get an Erykah Badu concert. Because and funny story was, when the pandemic happened, I had tickets to go to her like yearly birthday thing that she does here in Dallas. I had tickets to go to that, but because of the pandemic, it got canceled, and I just haven't been able to go. I was like the one time I was gonna finally go see this whole pandemic thing, then cancel my plans, because I was planning to take my sister that lives here. Her and Erykah Badu say that she had the same birthday, so I was like, oh yeah, this would be my birthday present to my sister, but also I get to see Erykah Badu for the first time.
Yeah. So
definitely gotta get that on the docket real soon. Next time she does some shows, because I know she does like shows actually quite often here in Dallas. It might be like little pop-up things or whatever. But yeah, definitely looking forward to trying to see Erykah Badu one day in person.
Me too.
Okay, so last question. With the album coming out, y'all hear this album actually be out this week, after y'all hear this episode. So definitely go check that out. Go download it, get all the streams, Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, whatever else other people listen to music on. But just to end it, what can people expect when they hear the album unveiled?
I can expect a lot of different stories to be told. A lot of stories about love, joy, pain, overcoming. And the last song is a song that Ray and I sang together, and I did it on purpose to make that the last song.
Okay.
So that might make you sad, but it's a song. So just a lot of feelings. Some would maybe not play some music in front of like the usher board. I probably wouldn't. The mothers of the church might be mad.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, some of the songs are baby making songs.
Okay. But hey, you are not a one-dimensional person, so they got.
I'm not. Only virgin was Mary. That's what my grandma said.
Virginless Mary. I like it. I like that. But thank you for taking the time to do this with us. It's been a great, dope interview. Anything else you want to mention? Provide, like, promote your socials or anything, and then we can just wrap it up.
So you can find me on Instagram at Ansherea, that is Anshrea, or Facebook at Ansherea. And that's it.
Cool. Well, this has been your boy Smilez. I'm here with Ansherea, and this has been another episode of the Music Impulse, and we are out.